Alright guys, it's the end of the year and I fucking love a best of list. I consume them at an unhealthy rate this time of the year, even if they have absolutely no relevance to my life. Of course I want to know the top 10 breads of 2023. Who wouldn't want to know that information? So I've decided to throw my hat in the ring and make the SpookieKnights top 10 best of horror 2023. So if that's your deal, if you like that sort of shit, here's the video for you. Now, caveat, I only started my channel in September, so some of the movies on this list I haven't covered on the channel, but I have seen them. I've seen every movie on this list. For the ones I have covered, though, I have linked in the description below the full, if you want like a full 5 to 10 minute review, I've linked them below. Also, I'm going off the Australian release dates for these films because that is the earliest I've been able to get my hands on them. It apparently takes a long time for a kangaroo to get from Hollywood to my door with the films, I assume, because that's the only good excuse for having to wait for them a year in this day and age. So don't start talking shit in the comments like, oh, that was released in 2022. Yes, I get it. You got to see it at some fun horror hipster festival in Texas, but my plane ticket must have got torn to shreds by cassowaries because I didn't get it. I had to wait like a fucking peasant. So, Australian release dates for these movies. Side note, if you do want to see the scariest Australian animal, YouTube cassowaries. Not many non-Aussies know that we still have these big fuck-off gigantic dinosaur birds just roaming around paradise, eating fruit and killing people for the fuck of it. So educate yourselves because they're crazy animals. But back to the reviews. As the ancient Australian saying goes, I'm not here to fuck spiders, so let's get straight to it. Number 10, Renfield. Straight off the bat, pun intended. We have another wild Nick Cage performance. I adore Nick Cage. I fucking love Mandy. I especially love when he's unhinged. And he is very, very unhinged in this. He's playing like a spoilt celebrity almost. Mandy is one of my favourite horror movies ever, so I was so excited about this one as soon as I heard about it. Nicholas Hoult plays the titular Renfield, and he's stuck as the loyal manservant of Dracula, played fucking crazily by Cage, as he plays any role, let's be honest. As Renfield starts to try to set his own boundaries with his bloodsucking boss and discover his own worth, have pride in his job through group therapy of all fucking things, he hatches a plan to get rid of Dracula for good, and fucking hilarious horror comedy ensues from there. Take a look.
Mr. Renfield, welcome. I am Dracula. You will make a very good assistant.
No! He's evil. We will protect you!
You have the word of the most trusted institution on earth, the Catholic Church. Renfield, your sole purpose in life is to serve me. Now, let's eat.
Now, whether you like this movie or not depends on two things. One, are you a silly goose or a serious Steve? Two, do you love Nick Cage? If you answered no to one or both of these questions, get the fuck out of the pond because this is only for the silliest of geese. I'm telling you, I think the marketing, it was sort of hard done by marketing-wise for this movie because I think people thought it was going to be like a really dramatic performance by Cage. So it's not. It's fucking batshit. I do agree it's not a perfect comedy, but it's fun. It's fun as fucking hell. Best on ground, apart from Cage, because he's the fucking best in everything, goes to Ben Schwartz, who plays the funniest, weaseliest little like mobster nepo baby of all time. He's fucking hilarious in this. This is like a long episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine or Reno 911 with vampires. So if that sounds up your alley, give it a watch. It's weirdly empowering watching Renfield break his codependency through self-care therapy and, fucking ripping people's arms off and spearing them into other people. There's some really good action scenes. It's got some very funny Cageisms. My favorite being, who is this? This is Doug. Doug is trash. No more Dougs. It's fucking great. It's endlessly quotable. It's really good. Good movie. I recommend watching this if you love the comedic style of like Reno 911, What We Do in the Shadows, the TV series, that sort of thing. It's like that. If you love Nick Cage, probably goes without saying, this is Nick Cage through and through. He's fucking wild in this. I don't recommend watching this if you want a super serious horror film. It's a comedy. It's a silly goose time. It's a comedy. If you don't like unhinged Nick Cage performances, goes without saying, stay away from this. This is Nick Cage at his battiest. Number 9, Huesera. This is a creepy little movie straight out of Mexico. Huesera follows Valeria and Raul. They're a young couple who have been struggling with fertility issues. As they find out, Valeria is now with child. Yay! But that quickly turns to horror as Valeria believes that she and the baby have become the fascination of some malevolent spirit who is seeking to isolate Valeria and cause harm to the baby. Creepy, creepy, creepy little film. The trailer's pretty fucking good too. It doesn't give too much away.
Felicidades. Ya se te estaba pasando el tren. ¿Estás contenta?
Feliz.
¿Y eso que no te gustan los niños?
Que no te truenes los dedos, Valeria. Vas a quedar chueca.
Lo que te está pasando es de lo más normal. Cuando uno se convierte en mamá, siente que se está partiendo en dos. Y espérate al parto, literal. Sientes que se te parten los huesos.
This movie is so tactile. Like, there is a satisfying click-clack to the bone-breaking and contortion work that goes into this movie. You can feel it. Like, as soon as there's bone cracking, you're sort of like, oh, I was like, oh, Jesus. It has a really, really strong The Grudge vibe about it. It's like, even the design of the spirit, you could almost, like, I was like, okay, they love The Grudge. Whoever made this loves The Grudge. It delves into the concept a lot of women and the unfortunate situations that occur when you're pregnant, and that is like the loss of your own identity, autonomy, and say in your own well-being. Like, if you're pregnant, doctors, loved ones, and even the little spawn growing inside you sort of try to dictate what you do. You lose a bit of that. You lose a bit of yourself, and this movie does that really well. Natalia Solian is phenomenal, and it's a great film to play. Is this a monster or is it mental? I do think it falls down slightly at the end, which prevented it from being higher on my list. Because, like, yeah, I do like the way they ended it, but you don't get a lot of lore. And when you've got a subtitle like Huesera, the Bone Woman, I was hoping for some, like, explanation into the folk horror and stuff. But that being said, it's a debut film from director Michelle Garza Cervera. And it's definitely worth a watch if you like the artsier side of horror. If you like that sort of stuff. If you like The Grudge. If you want to support debut filmmakers, get around this film. If you're the person in the family where everyone's like, when are you having a kid? Have you thought about having kids? You're getting older. Like, if you cop that shit at family dues, I used to before I had my kid. I used to a lot. Even though you don't want them, this movie is like a fucking ammo box. There is plenty of shit you can go back with. The point of this movie is the poster child for being like, nah, I don't want kids. It's really good. I don't recommend watching this if you hate supernatural horror. This is a supernatural horror. If you're currently pregnant, this might be the scariest movie of all time for you, so stay away from this one. Or just be aware going in. If you hate subtitles and you fucking refuse to bend the knee to Duo, the Duolingo owl, okay, I get it. But this is a subtitle film. If you have misophonia, stay the fuck away from this one. Like, there is so much, like, creaky, cracky, bone cracking sort of stuff in this. This is not for my homies who have misophonia. Stay the fuck away. Number 8. Influencer. This was a little surprise for me. If they do a sequel to this movie, I want it to be called Influencer 2 Bing Tang's Blood and Sand. I think that'd be a fucking great title. This is one of the more surprising watches of the year for me. I expected to watch like a solid 5 out of 10 movie with unlikable characters getting their comeuppance. What I actually got was like a clever and intricate social deduction horror set in a really nice fucking place. Thailand. It's beautiful. So there's a lot of like eye candy here. I sort of got the same feeling I got watching Bodies, Bodies, Bodies for the first time, with slightly less humour. Like, influencer follows social media star Madison on what was supposed to be a romantic trip to Thailand. Madison's boyfriend Ryan pulled out at the last minute, which has sort of led to Madison wallowing in glumness between her routine of tanning, swimming, cocktail drinking, and of course obsessively checking social media. Because what else do you do in paradise? You don't sit there and enjoy it, do you? You see what other fuckers are doing. Madison lucks out, however, when she meets the suspiciously helpful CW, who offers to show her all the best things of Thailand. And from there, we get to sit back and just try to work out what angle Madison's going to get fucked up from. Honestly, it's an interesting watch.
Everything is so much better now that I've decided to stay.
I have some ideas for what we should do tomorrow.
I actually have a surprise for tomorrow.
Everything is so much better now that I've decided to stay.
Since when are you suddenly shy?
I just don't like being on camera.
So someone else was pretending to be you the whole time?
Hello?
The acting in this movie is so annoyingly good, as all the influencer types try to like outplay each other and fumble over themselves and work out basically what the fuck is going on. Cassandra Nowd is impeccable as CW, and her acting involved a lot of really weird like character mannerisms, which I think made CW way more interesting than she had any right to be. Like, I wasn't expecting her to be as interesting as she was in this. A big complaint I have about this movie is there is a section that takes place entirely off screen, and I would love to see what went on there. Like, that's a really interesting concept for a film. So if you like sleuthing, grab your magnifying glass and your notepad. There's a lot for you to like here. It's a really twisty little film. I recommend watching this if you love any social media horrors. This is one of the better ones. If you watch Netflix shows about grifters, this is a good one. This could be a good in for, like, if you've got a partner who's horror-averse but fucking loves true crime or like con man documentaries on Netflix. Here's your in. This is a good in. If you love Survivor Thailand, there's a lot of that DNA in this. I don't recommend watching this if you hate horrors where none of the characters are likable. I actually end up liking some of the characters in Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. I didn't fucking like anyone in this. But that's good, because it means you just get to sit back, the stakes are low, and just enjoy yourself. If you're after a supernatural horror, this isn't supernatural, this is true life horror. It's also, if you're after a super scary film, this probably isn't going to scare anyone. It's more just intriguing. If you're looking for scares, just fucking YouTube Aussie schoolies in Thailand. There's some freaky shit that goes on there. So if you're looking for scares, Google that. That's a fucking horror show. There's also, if you're expecting Aussies on holiday bashing the fuck out of each other in the background, doing really good like Rogtang impersonations, there's none of that in this, which is a shame, because that's the real Thailand. Like, let's be honest, that's the real Thailand. Number 7, Totally Killer. This movie is fucking hilarious. This is one of the funniest movies of the year for me. When this landed on Amazon, I was pleasantly surprised because I was able to just sit down and give it my full attention. It does not take itself seriously at all, like a lot of movies on my list this year, and I mean that in the most complimentary way. This is like a serial killer time travel movie where a high school girl has to travel back to the 80s to save her mum's friends from being murdered, and subsequently her mum from being revenge murdered in the present. I know that's a weird fucking concept for a movie, but it's really good. The problem is her mum and her friends are, frankly, they're cunts. They're cunty people. Like, imagine if you had to go back in time and save your parents and you found out that your parents were real pieces of shit. That's the concept for this movie. It's a silly concept to be sure, but it's executed really, really well, and it's a fucking cracking good time.
How about we all stay in and hand out Halloween candy?
No, Mom.
You know how hard this time of year is for us. Your friends were murdered 35 years ago. It's not 1987 anymore.
Stay safe, honey. I love you.
What year is it?
1987.
Oh my God. I know.
The 80s are almost over and I haven't even tried Coke yet. I don't know.
Once again, it's a silly goose time. Like, a high school girl builds a working time machine as a science fair project. That's the level we're dealing with. This is a very 80s movie. I'm all for silly science as long as it's self-aware, and this is very self-aware. It's chock full of jokes about, like, what a wild time growing up in the 80s was, and, like, I think this is a horror movie that even horror-phobic people can get behind. There is a running gag about how loose everyone is with private information, because, once again, this is before Stranger Danger, and that fucking gag landed to me every fucking time. It's really good. It's a really good... There's lots of... It's fucked. It's about how, like, un-PC the 80s were, and it's just... There's some really problematic lines in this, and, you know, our present-day characters trying to, like, tell everyone the error of their ways, but no one gives a fuck. It's good. It's good for that. Watch this with a parent or sibling that grew up in the 80s, and just bask in a really, really fun piss take of the entire time period and genre. It's a good one. I recommend watching this if you like time travel slashes. There's been a few this year, or even this last couple of years. There's been a few good ones. If you love 80s movies, Breakfast Club, Back to the Future, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, you'll probably have a lot to like about this one. If you secretly reckon one or both your parents were a bit of an asshole in high school, this is a good movie to watch. This will sort of show you what it would be like to live that out. I don't recommend watching this if you want a super scary horror. This is not super scary. It's also a slasher. If you don't like slashers, move on. This ain't for you. You know, it's once again, it's a silly movie. The time travel machine in this looks like it could be some fucking incel's gaming PC. So this is not a super serious horror. But if you're not about that, neither is this. It's a good time. 6. Thanksgiving. Welcome back, Eli. We've missed you. We've missed you so much. After stepping out for milk in 2018 and just fucking disappearing from the genre, the king of gore himself watched the success of all... He saw these other slashers and he was like, oh, did you all forget? Did you all forget who the fuck I am? And he came back to swing his big cinematic dick around. And frankly, I'm grateful for that because Thanksgiving is really, really good. It's a really good slasher. It's another film I got to see in the movies this year, which I'm always thankful for a good horror movie outing. And cinema horror is alive and well currently. Fucking Megan, FNAF, Talk to Me, Scream 6. There's been some bangers this year. After tragedy strikes the Black Friday sale at Right Mart in Plymouth, a mysterious killer dressed as a pilgrim stalks the town a year later, taking revenge on all those involved. I love a horror. I love a horror where capitalism's the bad guy. This is a fucking good one. Check out the trailer.
I used to love this town. Until what happened that night. Tomorrow's Thanksgiving, and I'm tired of pretending like everything is normal when it's not.
I want things to go back to normal too.
Show some enthusiasm. Thanksgiving is an institution here.
This movie should not work. Like, I'm an Aussie. I know sweet fuck all about Thanksgiving as a holiday. The themed kills in this filled me with festive cheer. Like, this oozes 2000s slashers, and Roth is like right at home. This is home field advantage for him. You watch this movie to celebrate the kills, and Eli knows that. So he makes everyone in this movie a real piece of shit, which is great, because you just get to sit back and go, fuck yeah, I can just watch the carnage. Like, you don't care. I hated everyone in this movie except for like this bogan, gun-loving metalhead character that I don't think I was supposed to like, which probably says more about me than Eli. But anyway, this movie has a lot of good shit going for it. Like, it has Dr. Dreamy trying to stop a serial killer. It has cooking scenes reminiscent of Hannibal. It has Lewis fucking Litt with the thickest upper slip slug outside of the 70s porn industry I've ever seen. If any of that intrigues you, go in. This is the best Thanksgiving content out there right now, alongside the South Park Black Friday trilogy. Also, John Carver is the name of an actual person in American history. I did not know that. Of course you have to do a slasher if you've got someone with that name. This movie made me actually think about a dark Batman movie with Calendar Man as the villain would work. That's right, Eli Roth restored my faith in Calendar Man as a movie villain. That's how fun this movie is. It's a fucking hoot. I recommend watching this if you love 2000s era slashers. Final Destination, Hostel, House of Wax. This is reminiscent of all them. This has all that DNA. There's fucking jocks, there's nerds, there's bullies. It's got all that shit in it. If you watch Horror for the Kills, fucking 12 out of 10 for themed kills in this movie. Like, very, very fucking good. If you're looking to fill the weird gap between, like, Halloween and Christmas, even if you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving, here's a horror film now. Like, I watch Gremlins every Christmas. I will now watch Thanksgiving every Thanksgiving. I don't recommend watching this if you don't like Eli Roth movies. He does what he says on the box. He gives you gore, he gives you blood, he gives you horrendous kills. It's fun as fuck. If you refuse to indulge in anything Thanksgiving related, it's fair. I know very little about the holiday, but I know it is somewhat contentious. So if you don't want to engage in anything Thanksgiving related, I get it. Stay away from this one. Number 5, The Pope's Exorcist. There was no way on God's green earth that this film was not going to make the list. If you don't get some enjoyment out of this movie, I don't know how to help you. It is front row ready Russell Crowe riding up on the Lampretta and just fucking bashing demons. That's just good sacrilegious fun. Like, Crowe plays Father Gabriel Amarth, who is the red right hand of the Pope himself. The good father is given sort of like a hand in your badge and gun situation by members of the clergy, and he has to head off to Spain, by Vesper, of course, and save a family whose youngest lad has come down with a real bad case of the demons.
We have more questions for you, Father Amort.
You have a problem with me? You talk to my boss, the Pope.
There is a case that needs your attention.
Bring me the priest.
I'm here to help, Julia.
Wrong priest! Take caution. There are secrets buried there.
Yes, the real guy this movie is based on was a tool, but if spending an hour and 40 minutes watching my boy Russ sip whiskey, take the piss out of everyone in the room, and give demons panel beatings in the name of the Lord isn't your idea of fun, my heart cries for you. Because if I wasn't a fucking coward, this list would be one movie long with this at pole position. But as much as I love Rabbito Russ, this is not the best horror movie of 2023. Fuck, I don't even know if this is a good horror movie of 2023, but it's the most fun I had watching a movie this year. So grab some drinks and snacks, round up the homies, and chuck this on, because the sequel's coming out, and if it's half as fun as this one, it's worth your time. Honestly, there's the podcast How Did This Get Made did an episode on this. Watch this and then go listen to that episode. It's fucking great. It's very funny. I recommend watching this if you love popcorn horror, Happy Death Day, Purge, Final Destination, that sort of shenanigans. This is in line with that. If you love limoncello, if you water the concrete, grow tomatoes, if you like 2 spaghetti meals in one day, you get what I'm saying? You'll like this. There's a lot for you to like. I don't recommend watching this if you want a scary, serious horror film. This is a fucking good film. This is a good film, but it's not like a masterpiece. It's just fun as fuck, and I love it. I love it so much. This is like my crowd favorite for this year. If you can't stand Russell Crowe, don't watch this. I'm fucking blown away that you don't like Russell Crowe, though. Like, he fought around the world for our sins. He's fighting around the world. What more do you want from the man? The fucking Ladinator himself. Russell Crowe. Fucking hell. Gladiator. If you hate Exorcist films and have qualms about supporting anything that paints the Vatican in a fairly positive light. Okay, that's fair. There are demons in this world, and some of them are in the Vatican. I fucking bet ya. I get it. So stay away from that if that's a qualm for you. Number 4, Pearl. This was the year of unhinged Mia Goth. We had Infinity Pool and Pearl in one calendar year. What a fucking treat. If you're fantasy drafting the ultimate team of lunatics, first of all, I want in. I want in on that fucking fantasy draft. Secondly, Mia Goth is appearing somewhere in the lineup. It would be like having the 1995 Bulls without Pippen. She is reliably a maniac in everything she does. For me, Pearl is her best performance to date. This is a tragic story about a woman who is living under the impressive thumb of her mother, and she's forced to give up her dreams of becoming a star to be a housewife at the end of the 1910s. This movie is nothing short of a masterpiece. This is a masterpiece of a movie. It is the best character study we have had this year. Oppenheimer being number 2. This movie's fucking brilliant.
Please, Lord, make me the biggest star the world has ever known, so that I'll make it far, far away from this place.
Now, caring for your family during these times is admirable, but you only get one take at this life.
If only they would just die.
Pardon?
Nothing.
I really liked X, but I think Pearl's the better film, which is staggering when you think about how hard it is to pull off not one, but 2 good horror films on the trot, and they're completely different styles. X is like this sexy slasher in the styles of like the 80s and 90s. Pearl is like a Technicolor epic about one of the most interesting characters I personally think we've ever had in horror. Pearl also boasts the most unsettling end credits I have ever witnessed since probably A Wounded Fawn. Like, I think this is number 1. Like, give this a watch and think, fuck, I've got to find me a Howard, because he is a ride or die after seeing this film. Fuck, I hope Maxine is good. God, I hope Maxine is good. Like, 3? That would be 3. 3 from 3, imagine. Ugh, I'm hoping. Come on, Ty West, give us the hat trick. I recommend watching this if you love X, obviously. Also, if you love like Psycho or Midsommar, this is very bright in its colour palette. It's really good. If you love the Technicolor era of films, Wizard of Oz, Snow White, Seven Dwarfs, Robin Hood, this is that. This takes a lot of love from that. It is an homage to those films. If you find scarecrows weirdly arousing, you sick little fuck, there's a scene that you're going to love in this. I don't recommend watching this if you want something scary. This is not, at least it's not scary in its imagery. It's fucking scary in its implications, but it is not that. If you hate dramatic horrors and long conversations, there is dinner party horror in this. There's a great fucking monologue. It's one of the best monologues I've ever seen. It's really good, but if you don't like long conversations, don't watch this. Same thing. If you didn't like X, stay away from this one. Similar characters, same vibe, but better, I think. You knew it was going to be on there. If you've seen my review, you know this film was going to be on here. Godzilla Minus One comes in at number 3. Godzilla's back, Big G-Dog, and he's at his most Godzilla-y. I am an unabashed Godzilla fan, so this was always going to be on this list. But when I walked into the theatre, I had no idea the delight I had in store for me. Godzilla Minus One, to me, is the perfect Godzilla film. It follows disgraced kamikaze pilot Shikishima in 1946 as he returns to the decimated ruins of Tokyo in the wake of the Allies' relentless bombing. Our boy Shiki has lost everything in the war, including his family, his home, and even his squadron, due to a certain gigantic nuclear-powered reptile, hint in the title. Inflicted with PTSD and survivor's guilt, he gets chosen by a woman named Noriko and her adorable adopted daughter Akiko as a surrogate family member. He's got a bit of a death wish, so with very little regard for his life, he decides to take a job on this small wooden minesweeping boat to get rid of sea mines in Tokyo. And it's during this stint that we find out something large, scaly, and fucking awesome, is set to devastate his life once again. Godzilla's back. As I said, I went into this expecting like a smash-up monster film where I get to cheer Godzilla as he stomps the masses. This is not the film. This is not that film at all. This is a film about war weariness. It's about PTSD. It's about the cheapness of life in World War II. There just happens to have Godzilla in it. Like, this is a fucking great film, even if you didn't have Godzilla in it, but it did put Godzilla in it, and that makes it one of the best films of fucking 2023 to me. This is Godzilla at its best and its scariest, and the sound design, CGI, and action sequences are fucking mind-blowing when you realize how much budget director-writer Takashi Yamasaki had to work with. Like, it was like 15 mil USD. That's fucking nothing. It's the best Godzilla has ever been. I was so happy to be blindsided by the big G-Dog this year. This movie is fucking great and it's well worth your time. I recommend watching this if you love monster movies. If you like stuff like Jaws, this is about as close to Jaws as you get without getting your eyes wet. If you love Japanese cinema, once again, this is my favorite Japanese movie of this year. I haven't seen The Boy and Heron yet, but this is my favorite so far. If you haven't seen a movie that really benefits from a cinema experience in a while, go to the cinemas and see this. It, like, especially IMAX, if you can get into IMAX, like, the fucking sound design is brilliant. Like, the of like the nuclear blast and stuff, it's so good. I don't recommend watching this if you don't or can't read subtitles. I'm hoping they do a dub for my dyslexic homies out there. I really want everyone to see this film and it to be accessible because it's fucking brilliant. If you don't like Godzilla as a creature, stay away from this. This is a Godzilla film. If you can't abide any melodrama in your horror, there is a bit of melodrama in this. The acting can be a bit Japanese soap opera, but it adds to it. It doesn't take away from it for me. Get behind Godzilla. The top two was so fucking hard to pick. Is Talk to Me. The story behind how this film got made is my favourite of the year. Two Aussie YouTubers called the Philippou Brothers, with the personalities and attention spans of rescue staffies, write a small budget horror movie where ghosts are basically a party drug, and that gets picked up by A24 and becomes like a worldwide sensation. They're on Joe Rogan, they're doing interviews all across the world. Ari Aster likes the film. Like, how can you not get behind a story like that? Also, this movie is fucking magnificent. Talk to Me follows a group of Aussie teens who are in the possession of the embalmed hand of a medium. By holding this hand and speaking the phrase "talk to me," that's why it's called that, you can summon the spirit of some poor soul. If you're feeling real brave, you can even let that spirit have control of your body, but only for 90 seconds. Any more and you may not be able to fully sever the connection, and if you do that, shit gets real fucking squirrely. Just a genius concept of a film.
Who's up?
I'll do it.
Cannot go for more than 90 seconds. Am I clear?
What happens after 90 seconds?
They'll want to stay. Light the candle to open the door. Blow it out to close it. Put your hand on it. Now say, talk to me.
Talk to me.
The thing I love dearly about this film is that it makes possession look fun. We've seen possession before. There's 1,000 possession films that probably came out this year. I think there's another 3 in this list. I have never seen it handled with so much style and energy. Every single actor in this film gives a sterling performance, and I can't fault anything from the pacing to the cinematography to the soundtrack. This is all killer, no filler. Like, this fucking movie slaps. If I was in high school with these guys, there would be no way I wouldn't be grabbing that fucking hand. It looks so fun. I wanted Haley and Joss, the guys who are like in charge of the hand, to like me so bad, and I'm a 30-year-old man. That goes to show you how well the teenagers are written in this movie. Like, they were fucking... I was like, oh god, please like me. This is this generation's The Ring, and not since The Loved Ones has a horror film so accurately depicted the after-school life of an Aussie teen. I have a horror-themed leg sleeve, and the moment I walked out of this movie, I was sizing up real estate for a Talk to Me tattoo. Hats off to the Raka Raka boys, because the quality of this film has ensured that I am happy to put my hand into my wallet for whatever the fuck they come up with next. I know there's a sequel coming out. I'm hoping it's as good as this one, because this movie is a fucking delight. It's so, so, so good. I recommend watching this if you love possession horror, you want to support Aussie filmmaking, please do. We make fucked up horror films. So the more people support it, the more fucked up shit you get to see on your screens. If you don't think there's been a good horror movie since Hereditary, stick this in your pipe and smoke it, because this is fucking brilliant. If you had a horror awakening watching Blair Witch, The Ring, Paranormal Activity, like I did in high school, this awakens that same feeling in me. This is so good. This movie is so good. It's so clever. I love it. I love everything about it. I don't recommend watching this if you don't like movies with themes of suicide or grief. Trigger warning. There's a lot of that in here. If you want an action-packed splatterfest, don't watch this. Go watch Thanksgiving or Totally Killer or something, because this is not an action-packed splatterfest, but it is fucking fun. Miranda Otto plays the funniest fucking mum in this. It's so good. If you hate Australia as a country and you don't think we exist, don't watch this movie, because this will prove you wrong. And that brings us to number one. Now, you could probably tell with Talk to Me at number 2, you can probably tell what my number 1 is. Number 1, yes, my number 1 is When Evil Lurks. Honestly, on any given day, if you ask me what the best horror film of 2023 is, it will fluctuate between When Evil Lurks and Talk to Me. Talk to Me is way more accessible. And I would recommend everyone see Talk to Me. Like, I'll recommend Talk to Me to my mum, like anyone. I think everyone can see Talk to Me and get something out of it. But not When Evil Lurks. Not When Evil Lurks. If you show this to the wrong person, you could fucking break them. If you want to talk about horror as a thing that horrifies you, like in terms of things that horrify you, When Evil Lurks has every single film that came out this year fucking beat into the ground. This is a malevolent piece of cinema. It's fucking evil. It is diabolical, and I adore it. I adore this movie. It's my number 1. I fucking love it. I love it so much. Damien Rugner, who directed another stellar horror film called Terrified in 2017, go see that. He circles back around 5 years later to give us like an Argentinian uppercut to our mental health. Jesus Christ, this film's good. When Evil Lurks follows brothers Pedro and Yimi, who live in a rural village in Argentina. A member of the village has become possessed by a demon, they call it a rotten, and is going to give birth to the fucking devil, or a devil. Pedro and Yimi think they're doing the right thing, and they try to remove the man from the village, unleashing a chain reaction of events that descend so close to emotional hell that my brain got fucking heat stroke. God, this movie's good. I will say it again. This film is amazing. Like, Talk to Me is a movie where possession is handled in a way I've never seen before or since. Same with this one. Like, we've had 2 films that handle possession in a way I've never seen before in 1 year. Fuck, we're spoiled. Like, honestly, 2023, what a great year for horror. It is almost pathological in this movie, and the medium by which it spreads is fucking devastating. This movie is a cinematic trigger warning, and Damien Rugner has never pulled a punch in his life. Honestly, like, this man doesn't give a fuck. He is just like, there are so many scenes when people are like, "Oh, what's the most fucked up film you've seen this year?" It's this one, and there's like 700 fucking scenes I could point to that would prove why this is the most fucked up film I've seen this year. The acting by Ezekiel Rodriguez and Damien Solomon, I'm sorry I probably butchered that, but I want your names to be known, because their acting is phenomenal in this. They share this brotherly bond that I really, really loved. It is like ride or die. They've got each other's backs in the face of primordial evil, and I love it. Like, the characters are deeply flawed in this, unlike Talk to Me, where it's like, they're just sort of teens, they're a bit silly, but that's it. The characters here are deeply flawed. So every single action they take either gives you hope or takes it away, and it's that pull-push effect on your adrenal glands that made me physically exhausted after watching this movie. I didn't love the character choices in this as much as I did in Talk to Me, because they make some silly errors, but because the characters are so deeply flawed, it made way more sense to me. Like, I was like, yep, completely, that's exactly what that fuckhead would do. Every action is determined by fear, pride, or an inability to listen, and it just ratchets up the stakes with every minute that passes in this film. There is lore building in this world, and it is top fucking notch. It just gives it to you and trusts you to go along with it. There are concepts and logistics about possession that I have never considered, and I love when a movie does that. Like, there's some brand new rules to demoning in this movie that I've never seen before. When people mention this movie to me or ask me if I've seen it, I get distinct flashbacks of scenes that I can never unwatch. And it's this film's lasting hold on me that elevated it to my number one this year. This film makes The fucking Exorcist look like Goosebumps, and it's only for the very, very hardcore of horror fans. So please know that going in. But if this is up your alley, please, please, please see this movie, because it is fucking diabolical. We must let Daddy Damien know that we love him, so he feeds us more unholy jaunts through his disturbing little psyche. Because this is a movie for broken toys, and if you are a broken toy, get around this fucking movie. I recommend watching this if you love disturbing horrors. I don't know how to drill this into you anymore. This is a disturbing film. If you like the sadness or Speak No Evil, this is the film for you. If you're looking for scares, this has fucking plenty of them, and like one jump scare. It's just terrifying. This is a terrifying movie. If you love unique takes on overdone monsters, once again, Possession, seen it 4 billion times, never seen it done like this. I don't recommend watching this if harm against animals or people with an intellectual disability is too much for you. Understandable. Like, that's an understandable qualm. This is a limit-pushing movie. If you want something chill, this is so far from chill. This is so far from chill. This is like The Sun, right? Like, this is so far from chill. Don't go in for a chill time. If you hate realistic gore, if you hate cannibalism, illness, demons, this movie, once again, is a walking trigger warning. If you hate subtitles, that's a shame, but this is a subtitle film. You're going to struggle with this one. It is my number one movie of the year, and I fucking adore it. Well done to When Evil Lurks, because I fucking love this movie. So, there it is. The official Spooky Nights top 10 horror movie list for 2023. Let me know what you think, or feel free to share your own in the comments. As I've stated before, I love lists. I love digging through and finding new movies to watch. I love other people's top 10 lists, so drop it below. We'll have a chat about it. It's awesome. I will have one more review before next year, which will be Skinamarink. I watched it and thought it was going to make this list, but, well, it's not here, so that should sort of speak for itself, how I feel a little bit about it. There was a bunch of movies that I wanted to see this year that I couldn't get my hands on in Australia, or I couldn't squish into my schedule, so some of them are listed here. So if you've seen any of them and they are good, let me know, because I'll likely cover them at a later date if they are good. Just so many good films. So many good films came out this year. I just want to say a huge, huge thank you to everyone who has watched my channel this year. I started this channel just before October because I had some friends G me up and tell me to do it, and I was so fucking nervous. But I'm so glad I finally pulled the trigger on it because I have loved every second of it. You guys are the fucking best, and I appreciate the fuck out of you. I love talking about horror. I know most people say things like and subscribe and share and do all that shit, but honestly, the single coolest thing for me is that you watch my videos. Seeing people are taking the time out of their busy lives to watch me talk about horror films is crazy to me. Like, that just fills me with so much joy. So, you guys fucking rule. I hope you all get to relax or fucking send it this Christmas, whichever you prefer. And hopefully I'll see you all in 2024 for more horror movies. There's some good shit coming out, so I hope to get around them. Peace.